My name is Melissa Thorne, and joining me today is Liza Richards. Today's date is May 18th, 2019. Thank you, Lisa, for being with me today and for sharing your memories.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So my first question for you is describing your earliest memories of Mount Airy. When did you move here with your family?
My husband and I moved here in 2002, right after we got married. We both grew up in Montgomery County, and we decided to move out here because it was a great place to raise children. And it's wide open, it's more of that hometown feel, everybody knows everybody, and we haven't looked back since.
Which cities were you in the county?
I grew up in the Bethesda area. My husband grew up near Einstein High School. I forget the name of the town that he grew up in, but he lived in PG County at the time when we were dating, and I lived in Germantown, and I didn't want to move there. He didn't want to move where I was, so we decided to pick Mount Airy as a compromise, sort of, but we fell in love with the place the minute we stepped foot in town.
So where did you end up buying? Which house location?
Taylorsville.
Okay.
Near 26 and 27.
Yeah.
So we wanted a place that had space, big backyard. We have about a little over an acre. Great place to raise the kids. They can run around the backyard. The dog can run around in the backyard, and we have fabulous neighbors, and we just love it.
So raising your family here in town, you said that's why you moved here. Can you describe any other experiences of how that was a great opportunity for you?
We have 2 children. I wouldn't exactly call them children anymore. Our son is 21, and he's a junior in college up in Pennsylvania, and our daughter is just finishing out her sophomore year of high school. They both went to South Carroll High School. And so many things have happened in town for celebrations, 4th of July. You mentioned Mount Airy Day, and one of the things that I remember the most, and this was most recent, I think it was last year when we had a huge celebration at the fairgrounds with the Mount Airy Police Department, where we got to dunk the chief.
Yes, that was the first annual event, National Night Out.
Right. And we had an absolute ball. My daughter was throwing softballs like crazy, trying to get him to get dunked, and I finally just walked up to the tank and pushed the button.
That's terrible.
No, he's a great guy. The Mount Airy Police Department is absolutely fabulous, and we're thrilled that they are here.
Can you talk about any other events that you all have been a part of or enjoyed throughout the years?
4th of July every year is a huge thing that we look forward to, and the carnivals. The carnivals are absolutely wonderful. Dr. Coleman is my eye doctor, and of course we got word of the 4th of July celebration long before he started it with the other business owners in town, and every year it gets better and better and better, and every year when I go to see him for my annual checkup, he tells me about what new is coming and how many other businesses are on board, and we get pizza from Wise and walk over and spread a blanket out. We play cornhole, we play frisbee, and it's an all-day event for us that culminates usually in the parking lot over at Twin Arch because we're waiting for the traffic to dissipate, so we usually end up going over to Siempre de Fiesta for a late night snack.
Oh, that's wonderful that you do that. The parking I hear in the, I have experienced it myself, but has been, or it will be improving now that the police are here also.
Well, usually the state police help out in directing traffic, and that's definitely a huge help, of course, but it also gives us an opportunity to get to know some of the neighbors that aren't nearby. So we get a chance to meet new people that are from the area, or even people that aren't from the area that come from Howard County and Baltimore County because the event is so fabulous. So it's an opportunity to meet new people and reconnect with old friends.
Can you talk a little bit about your neighbors?
Yes, my next door neighbor is Jean Wolf, and she has been like a sister to me and almost like a surrogate grandma to our kids. She and her husband have lived there since, gosh, I don't know. Her sister originally bought the house in the 70s, and then she and her husband moved in not long after that. And when we moved in 2002, I got to the house first after settlement, was waiting for the moving trucks, and I was on the phone in the front yard because that's the only place we had cell service at the time, when her husband Don came over with a plate of oatmeal cookies and a piece of paper with names and phone numbers of all the local businesses, just welcoming us to town and welcoming us as their neighbors, and we've grown up with them. Unfortunately, her husband, Mr. Don, passed away several years ago, and so now Jean is kind of our neighborhood helper. She's also known as the crazy cat lady because she has cats that she takes care of in and out. And we take care of her animals. She takes care of our animals when we're away, and we've just gotten to be great, great friends.
Wow. So do you work locally, or do you?
I work in Owings Mills.
Okay.
I used to work in Frederick. when I worked for Bechtel, but they moved to Ruston, Virginia. And that kind of a commute is just not doable from here. It's about 3 hours. So I got a job in Owings Mills for a company that's been around since about the mid-'80s called EMG. And I'm a recruiter for them, and I love it.
Have your children had any jobs locally?
As a matter of fact, our son is at work right now at Jiffy Lube.
Good for him.
He loves it. This is his second summer working there. Prior to that, he worked at Wise for several years.
Okay. That's wonderful. Can you talk about any other town resident or non-resident that you looked up to moving here, or can you think of anybody who has a business in town?
Absolutely, I can.
Okay.
My best friend owns a business in town. Her name is Jonda Martin.
Okay.
She owns Cable Data Corporation.
I know
Right on. Who doesn't? Jonda and I get together on occasion. We'll head over to the tavern for, happy hour. And after we had been there a few times, I said, we can't go there anymore. And she said, why not? I said, because every time I turn around, somebody else walks in that knows you, and I can't have a conversation with you. So we've tried different places in town, and she's become a well-known resident. She and I have known each other, 30 years. She and her husband moved to the Mount Airy area first, and that was one of the reasons why we decided to at least look at Mount Airy as an option to live.
Oh, that's
and
great.
we were thrilled that they're only a few miles away from us. We get together as often as we can.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Are you, do you guys hang out in Mount Airy at all, and other places?
Usually it's Mount Airy.
Yeah.
Because she lives off of West Watersville Road and I live up in Taylorsville, so Mount Airy is a great place to meet. The tavern is
There's a lot
fun.
happening here.
We go to
what other
Memories,
places? Memories?
Charcoal
Okay.
House. I'm so sorry I missed their celebration. I was out of town that weekend too, but those are the two places that we go to frequently. We've been to Lou and Joe's a couple times and Vanessa's Corner Pub a couple times, but
Yeah.
usually we're
Up
in
your
town.
way.
Yes,
Closer.
sometimes
That's
she'll
nice.
come up to me, but usually we're going down to Mount Airy.
Okay. Have you belonged to any organizations in town or out of town?
Not in town. I'm hoping to start this in Mount Airy at some point. I am a member of Toastmasters International. It's a worldwide organization made up of local clubs that is dedicated to helping the members improve their communication and leadership skills. Been around since 1924. I joined the club in Frederick when I was working at Bechtel, and I now started a club in Owings Mills where I work with several other Toastmasters in the area, and I would love to start one in Mount Airy if we can.
We'll have to talk.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to.
See how we can get that really locally. If you had to describe Mount Airy to someone who has never been to our town, what would you say to them?
How much time do we have?
Start now. Hurry.
Mount Airy it has so much history that it's almost like going to a museum, because there's so many artifacts here, like the railroad car that I can't remember her name. Mackenzie, thank you. And the parks are beautiful. The schools are wonderful, but it's also modern with some of the new businesses that have moved into town. Deja Vu is here. I know Blossom and Basket has been around for a long time, but they had a grand opening recently that was wonderful. And some of the chain stores, they're okay, but I try to stick to Main Street and do as much small town shopping as I can and support our local business as much as we can. And everyone knows everyone, almost like a Mayberry, but at the same time, there's no infringement of privacy. It isn't like I'm living in a glass house. I can still have my quiet time with my family, but still spend quality time with neighbors and friends.
Yes. So where would you tell this person that they have to check out while they're here?
I'd say Main Street.
Yeah.
Main Street is a fabulous place. It has really grown up over the years. When we first moved here, there were some businesses here, but it didn't seem to have that draw. It didn't have the feel that it does now. And I can't put my finger on it. But one of the things my daughter and I do every year on Small Town Saturday, after Black Friday, I don't know what you call it. We call it Small Town Saturday.
Small Business Saturday.
Small Business Saturday.
The national recognition.
We come to Mount Airy every year, usually in the morning, probably around 10 o'clock or so in the morning, and we park up in the public parking lot, and we just walk up and down Main Street, do some shopping, and get some coffee. Sometimes we'll stop at Lorenzio's and have lunch.
And you're getting your shopping done early, too.
Yes, always. That's
Before
a great,
December
great
hits.
time.
That's wonderful. Thank you for shopping local
Of course.
here.
We try to support the local businesses as much as possible.
Absolutely. How do you see this town changing in the next few years from what you've seen since you moved here in the 2000s?
I saw something online about a redesign of Main Street, I think. And it looked pretty modern, more in line with maybe some of what the other towns around are doing, Frederick, Sykesville, Westminster type of thing. I'd like to see it keep its hometown feel. I know that there are some buildings that probably need some structural attention, but I would like to see that charm stay, because it's nostalgic to me. Growing up in Montgomery County, I remember when 270 wasn't 270. It was 70S, and it was 2 lanes.
Okay.
And now it's the widest interstate on the East Coast. It's too busy, there's too much commerce, there's too much traffic, there's too many people. And that's one of the reasons why we like Mount Airy, because it's controlled growth. And I don't have to sit at the stoplight for 15 minutes waiting for it to change. I've gotten to the point now where I'm impatient if it's longer than 2 minutes before it changes, because I've grown used to less traffic and less congestion and less noise than what we had when we grew up.
Are there any things that you have been doing in town tradition-wise, or other events that you'd like to talk about, downtown events that you've been to?
My daughter is a member of the Children's Chorus of Carroll County, and they have sung at the Christmas pageant once or twice. So we'll come down here for that, and then traditionally go over to the Mount Airy Inn for hot chocolate or cocoa or tea or coffee or something afterwards to warm up, because it's usually pretty cold. A lot of times the events are during times when we can't come, so we try to come to as many as we can, and that's why I keep in touch with you on Facebook.
We'll have to talk about that to figure out better times then, because we're trying to get more people.
When you have kids and they're involved in sports and music and drama, it's tough to fit everything in. So we try to fit in the big ones like the 4th of July and National Night Out and Small Business Saturday, things like that are important to us.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your interview today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure learning more about your experiences here in Mount Airy, and I look forward to learning more.
I'm looking forward to living here for as long as I can.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.